Every new year, millions of people make the same resolutions. Lose weight, save more money, wake up earlier. And every year, most of them fail, not because they are lazy, but because they rely on something that was never reliable to begin with: motivation. Motivation is like weather. It comes and goes without warning, and it does not care how big your goals are. This video is not about how to get more motivated. It is about why motivation was never the answer, and what actually builds a disciplined human being. Psychologist Roy Baumeister spent decades studying what is known as self-control, and one of his key findings is that conscious decisions are only a small fraction of human behavior. Most of what we do is run by automatic systems, not by willpower. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel laureate and author of Thinking Fast and Slow, explains that our minds operate through two systems. System 1 is fast, automatic, and emotional. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and effortful. Discipline, it turns out, depends far more on System 1 than we assume. Over the next 10 minutes, we will dismantle the myth of motivation, explore the psychology behind habits that actually last, and look at why a thinker like Carl Jung believed that true discipline begins with facing the part of ourselves we most want to avoid. The first problem with motivation is that it depends entirely on emotion. Motivation is driven by dopamine, a brain chemical linked to the anticipation of reward, not to the effort itself. That means your motivation peaks before you start, and drops the moment the real work begins. Picture a young professional in New York who eagerly signs up for the gym on a Monday. By Wednesday, that excitement has already evaporated, not because the goal changed, but because the dopamine wave from the initial intention has worn off. This is not a character flaw, this is biology. If motivation cannot be relied upon, then chasing it is like building a house on sand. What is needed is not more enthusiasm, but a structure that stays standing even after the enthusiasm is gone. That structure is what we call discipline. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, proposes a crucial shift: stop focusing on goals and start focusing on identity. Instead of saying "I want to save more money," say "I am someone who manages money wisely." The difference looks small on paper, but it is massive in effect. Goals are temporary. Once achieved, the motivation to continue often disappears. Identity is permanent. Every small action consistent with a new identity acts as a piece of evidence, and our brain naturally wants to act in alignment with who we believe we are. An entrepreneur in London who wants to stop procrastinating will not sustain change just by setting a sales target. But once he begins to see himself as someone who finishes what he starts, every small completed task reinforces that self-image, and discipline becomes a natural consequence, not a daily struggle. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and pioneer of analytical psychology, introduced the concept of the shadow, the part of ourselves we reject or hide, often because it feels uncomfortable or shameful. Lack of discipline is frequently a way we avoid confronting that shadow. Procrastinating on financial tasks may not really be about laziness with budgeting, but about avoiding the fear of confronting the reality of debt or past failures. Jung believed that what we do not face consciously will continue to control us unconsciously. True discipline, in this view, is not merely a mechanical routine. It is a willingness to repeatedly face the discomfort we have been avoiding, and every time we do, we integrate a part of ourselves that had been fragmented. James Clear also points out that winners and losers often have the exact same goals. What separates them is not the goal, but the system they run every single day. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Recall Kahneman's System 1 and System 2. Our conscious system gets tired quickly, so relying on it for discipline every single day is an unsustainable strategy. A well-designed system makes the right behavior happen automatically, without requiring repeated conscious decisions. For example, someone who wants to eat healthier does not need to rely on willpower every time they open the fridge. They simply need to change their environment by only keeping healthy food at home. The system replaces the need for constant willpower. James Clear calls this the compounding effect of 1% improvements. Small gains that seem meaningless in a single day become massive transformations when practiced consistently over months or years. This is similar to compound interest in finance, a concept many of us already understand. Small amounts invested consistently grow far larger than they initially appear, because time works in your favor rather than against you. Discipline works the same way. You will not see major results within a single week, which is exactly why most people quit too early. But for those who persist, the outcome feels like magic, when in reality, it is simply the mathematics of time and consistency. So what have we really learned? Motivation is the spark that lights the fire, but discipline is the firewood that keeps it burning. We do not need to wait for the right feeling to act. We need to build identity, systems, and the courage to face the parts of ourselves we have long avoided. A disciplined person is not someone who never feels lazy or afraid. They are simply someone who has stopped waiting for that feeling to disappear before taking action. That difference, over time, is what reshapes the entire trajectory of a person's life. If this video shifted the way you see things, subscribe to Notes on Being Human so you don't miss what comes next. Drop a comment below. What small system will you build this week to support your new identity? And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who is still stuck relying on motivation. Next week, we will explore why the fear of failure is often a sign that you are exactly on the right track.